Managers tend to use one-on-ones as an opportunity to micromanage. And that comes from fear, uncertainty, and doubt. People need feedback every week. And the problem is they're used to only getting feedback when something goes south. Clarity is kindness. Clarify what the expectations are. The one-on-one should be a chance to help clarify the goals. We try to change culture by mandate, which you can't do. You can't say from now on, we're going to have better one-on-ones. That leaders have to start at the top, and little by little, like change in direction on a cruise ship, you'll change culture.
This is Ryan Leary. I've got Joe with me here. Joe, welcome in. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm great. How are you?
Oh, that's good. Why don't we give the audience a brief introduction of Joe?
My name's Joe Rotella. You might see me speak at Sherm Annual. I'm there every year, typically doing mega sessions. I'm the Chief Value Officer of Delphia Consulting, and I created Maviva, which stands for Mission, Vision, Values. It's a performance management application in 249 languages and mobile friendly. And
249. And you did all of the translations yourself?
No, I wish. I wish. But its big feature is the use of AI in performance management. So I have several patents pending on that. So that's my wheelhouse.
Okay. All right. So did you speak at this event?
Yeah, I spoke this morning.
What did you speak about?
So today we talked about the problem with one-on-ones when they start with, how's it going? How's it going?
Yeah.
Because the answer is vague. You don't actually do anything to move the performance needle.
And it doesn't set the expectations of the conversation at all. In fact, I almost feel like it sets bad tone for the conversation.
Well, because you get a vague response, and then what happens is, I say, how's it going? You say, great. Okay, good. Well, you're good. I'm good. Let's do this next week.
Yeah.
And we actually don't have a clue what's really going on. So I shared some conversation starters that managers can have in their back pockets to have better conversations.
So, all right. So tell us about that. One-on-ones, where are we with that today? I've been through, I haven't been in corporate in 10 years. This year is the last time I've been in a corporate position, which is amazing, by the way. But I can remember my one-on-ones very vividly.
And do you remember them as good or bad?
Bad.
Bad, yeah.
They were awful. They were intimidating at some level, frustrating at another level.
Yep.
And it almost reinstated the fact that I shouldn't have been at the organization.
I think the problem is managers tend to use one-on-ones as an opportunity to micromanage. And that comes from fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD. I don't know. I'm worried you're not doing what you're doing. I'm sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. I doubt you're doing it right. So we need systems instead to track status. And the one-on-one should be a chance to help clarify the goals. Clarity is kindness. Clarify what the expectations are. Maybe do some coaching. What can I do to help you succeed? Maybe give you some feedback. I think people need feedback every week. And the problem is they're used to only getting feedback when something goes south. And if you ask most folks, hey, I'm going to give you some feedback, what's your initial reaction? They're like, ooh,
it's a little negative.
Dread. Because your amygdala goes off and because you don't get any good feedback. So, a tip, managers should have a list of all their employees' names on a Post-it right on their monitor. Every week, you're sure to tell each person some feedback. And it could be constructive, but it could be positive. And use the S-spin approach. Define the situation, the behavior you saw, the impact it had, and what do you want to see next? Don't focus on that rearview mirror. So, when you were in that presentation last week, I watched you give the talk. You did a great job, but I noticed you always look down. If you look up, people might be more engaged. I think they lost interest when you were looking down. So what could we do next time to help you look forward now and then? Maybe I'll stand in the back of the room and every 15 minutes wave just to get you to look up. So focus on the situation, the behavior you saw, the impact it had, and what do you want to see forward next? Don't keep in that rearview mirror. When you drive, I hope you're paying more attention to the windshield than you are that rearview mirror.
Yeah. So how does this play into the relationship that the managers have with the employee? And I'm thinking more of my own personal experiences where I probably didn't enjoy my manager very much. And it was because of their management style, things that they were doing. We just didn't gel.
Yep.
So I immediately went into my one-on-ones and felt angst about it, even though I knew I was doing well. The groups around me seemed to use me in a way that made me feel as I was doing well, but there was always something.
But I think the key is, did you and your manager agree on what does it take to win? What is success? And that's that clarity is kindness. You can't just say, give someone an assignment, and then typically managers will say, now did you get that? Tell me what I said. Play it back. That's still not clarifying it. So make sure that that person knows, what does it take to win? What does it take to cross the finish line? Because
Right,
one,
right.
it starts with expectations, right? And I think once the expectations are clearly defined, and you have a way of reporting on status, so managers don't have one-on-ones just to do status updates, because then you hate them. A good one-on-one, these are so good and the employee gets so much out of it, they'll want to have them. They'll schedule them. And instead, people want to avoid them. And then the manager sets it up because you haven't had one. If they cancel it, you're like, "Phew, thank God that's
Yeah.
canceled. I didn't want to do that anyway," because it's a waste of your
Yeah,
time.
yeah, absolutely. No.
You're not getting anything out of it. There's no value out of it.
And it never, at least for me, I never felt like we have accomplished anything and nothing ever moved forward. In fact, I would always enter these meetings assuming I was coming out in a negative, with a negative vibe or feel about the entire.
Well, and that happens with performance reviews. I love asking organizations, "Do you manage performance?" And they'll say, "Oh yeah, yeah, we set goals, and then 6 months later we do a mid-year review, and then at the end of the year we do a big end of the year review." You're not managing performance. You're reviewing it. You're reviewing it. Performance management happens in that space between the reviews, and that's where the conversations happen. So if you're going to move the needle on performance, then you've got to be having these conversations where you're defining what it takes to win. You're asking if everybody has the tools they need to succeed. You might be adjusting alignment because, we all should be aligned towards that vision, what the organization's trying to achieve. How we get there is the mission, how you row the boat every day, if you want to use an island example, and then your core values. Instead, managers are just doing micromanagement that comes from fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD. They have one-on-ones where they're just asking about status or hoping to get out of it. How you doing? You're doing good? Okay, good, great. Let's next week. Let's just talk next week. So I think we're missing that it's those conversations that really move the performance needle. And those conversations, if they're intentional, if the manager prepares as much as a recruiter should be reading a resume before an interview, the manager should be preparing for the one-on-one, as should the employee. You go into it, you have good conversations about expectations, about deliverables, about how I can help you succeed, how I can help you win. And then that's going to build trust. And trust is the number one thing employees look for in a leader. I can trust you. You got my back. You don't give me BS.
Right. And so how do we get to that stage in an organization? Because I don't, and I could be wrong with this. You see this a lot more than I do, but I feel as if the employee doesn't feel like there's a formal process, and the manager doesn't really feel comfortable following that process. It's almost like interviewing a
Yeah,
job
yeah.
candidate. They don't want to ask that list of questions. They want to just go off of their gut. They want to talk and ask their own questions, and they do, and then it fails.
I think a lot of that comes down to training. I always use the example. I'm from New York originally. I think you're from the Northeast.
Yeah, yeah, Philly, yeah.
Did you ever hear that commercial where the guy says, "I gotta go make the
Oh yeah,
donuts"?
yeah, the
Right?
Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he's the best donut maker in the place. So what do? Without asking him if that's what he aspires to, you promote him to be the manager of all the donut makers. So now he's the manager. You probably didn't train him on how to be a coach because you thought he's the best donut maker. He knows what he's doing.
Right.
And so he comes with a lot of arrogance. He has no curiosity because he knows how to make really good donuts. So the person comes, says, "Hey, the donuts are burning. What I should do? What should I do?" And instead of coaching and saying, "What do you think? What could be wrong?" He just solves the problem and he
Right.
creates a mother may I culture. We have to change this. We have to get folks, especially leaders, lose the ego, be humble, be curious, learn the dimensions of coaching, learn how to help someone stay aligned with the vision, learn how to help them improve, learn how to remove obstacles, and then have those kind of conversations where you're both focused on, what do I need to do to win? What does winning mean? And how can you help me get there? I think a lot of this comes down to, we don't train folks and then we try to change culture by mandate, which you can't do. You can't say from now on, we're going to have better one-on-ones. It's not going to work, right? Leaders have to start at the top, and little by little, like change in direction on a cruise ship, you'll change culture.
Right, right.
In these one-on-ones, talk about winning. What does it take? What can I do to help you? That's the manager's job, helping you succeed. And I think they missed the boat, probably because we didn't train them on it.
Battlefield promotions. It happens all the time. Joe, where can people find you, and what are we doing?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. I'd love to join your professional network. Connect with me there. The fourth Thursday of every month, I give a free thought leadership webinar that's pre-approved for Sherman HRCI credits. I've got about 50 hours of recorded credits you can take and watch, all about how to be a manager, how to be a coach. It's all about, for me, my whole passion is managing, not reviewing performance. I want to be the windshield view. I want to change the outcome of the game and not just review where the game went south.
Joe, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Appreciate your time.
Have a great conference.